Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show, our Gamescom Awesome Indie Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming, and finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now.
Hey there! Do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now! Do it! Just go! Vote! Go vote!
Hello and welcome to day 2 of Gamescom Studio, a full day of trailers, gameplay demos, and exclusive reveals. I'm Brian Altano. We have a whole bunch of stuff to show you today, but first I'm going to bore you for 3 straight minutes about schedules and social media and websites you should go to, kind of like when you Google a recipe and you have to scroll past 7 paragraphs of personal reflection before you learn how to boil an egg. Just kidding, you can't have to deal with any of that garbage today. So here's a brand new trailer for Genshin Impact, which you can pre-register for right now, so let's take a look.
Outlanders do not belong in this world. One day, this journey will reach its end. But until the abyss has engulfed the thrones, my war with destiny will see no end.
Your Highness, our plan to weaponize the dragon has been impeded.
By the Animo Archon, he rises again for the dragon's sake?
No, not the Archon. We were well prepared for his interference. Regrettably, Your Highness, the issue is your brother.
Outlanders, your journey ends here.
We will be reunited, dear brother. But not here. Not now. We will meet at this journey's end. Once the dust has settled. Then, you will understand.
Hello and welcome to Gamescom Studio Day 2. I'm Brian Altano, joined by Casey DeFreitas and Max Scoville. We have a ton of awesome games to show off over the next few hours, but first, a look at what's ahead.
Coming up, we've got a block of exclusive trailers followed by a look at some new gameplay from Little Nightmares 2, and a little bit after that, Brian and Max caught up with prolific video game voice actor Troy Baker about his new role in The Medium.
We sure did, and that's The Medium, the title of a game, not just the medium of gaming itself, though he's had quite a few roles in that. Later on after that, be sure to catch the Gamescom Daily Show. That is a late-night show experience from gamers, for gamers, also by gamers, of gamers, and with gamers. Oh, and it's hosted by known gamer Michael Swaim, who has lined up a bunch of awesome indie games, guests, and goofs, and that kicks off right after Gamescom Studio at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Central European Time.
But right now, I know you're here for video games, so let's check out some video games, like the Scarlet Nexus preview written by yours truly, right here on Gamescom Studio. Scarlet Nexus World is set in the near future with a, quote, brain-punk theme, in which monsters called the Others fall from the sky and search for human brains to devour. Protagonist Yuito Sumeragi joins the Other Suppression Force, or OSF, to help stop these creatures with the help of his sword and extrasensory powers, which many humans possess due to a psionic hormone produced in the brain. Yeah, it sounds pretty anime, and there's a lot more to it, so for more in-depth info on Scarlet Nexus' story, head over to the longer text version of this preview on IGN.com. The otherworldly, disturbing designs of the Others are the brainchild of artist Masakazu Yamashiro, who has never worked in games prior, but art director Kouta Ochiai knew he wanted to onboard him for Scarlet Nexus. The rule with the Others is to combine the inorganic and organic to create something foreign, which really works. There are so many unique elements to each of them that it's hard to look away despite their disturbing nature. Ochiai said, "The thought of something feeling off and alien is where we want our players to start having interest in the game." Other than the enemy design, Scarlet Nexus creators obviously want players to, quote, pay attention to the gameplay. Specifically, they focused on creating a superpower experience based around the protagonist's psychokinetic power. Because I didn't get to play Scarlet Nexus with my own two hands, I can't tell you how it felt to pull off the stylish combos that melded sword and psychokinesis. I can't tell you if it felt smooth or segmented, easy or difficult, or most importantly, fun, but I can tell you about what I saw and what stood out to me the most. Scarlet Nexus certainly appears to be more of a character action game than a straight JRPG because it relies on fast-paced, stylish combos in its combat, and the level design looks linear. As for the controls, combos with weapons are enacted by face buttons as expected, while psionic powers, at least with psychokinesis, are activated with the right trigger. It seemed that the larger the object, the longer the trigger needed to be held in order to heave it at an enemy. But the larger the object, the better the reward, in both damage and knockback potential. Occasionally, this would leave the enemy entirely prone or open another option to point both control sticks inward to trigger a powerful psychokinetic-caused environmental effect. Combos could be started with either psychokinesis or with a close-range sword attack, and follow-up attacks could be strung together with either. Another character, Hanabi Ichio, was in the player's party, of which there were 3 total slots. Hanabi used a staff and wielded pyrokinesis. Though not a playable character herself, her powers are usable by the player due to the, quote, brain link shared between all OSF members. Her tactics could also be changed via the menu as well, though I'm unsure how customizable those tactics actually are. I also got a glimpse of a very RPG-like skill tree called a brain map, which includes 3 unique branches. The expand path unlocked new abilities or combos like psychokinesis shockwave and mid-air PK combo 2. The enhance path predictably enhances things like damage. Lastly, the support path unlocked abilities that, for example, pulls items towards you. There also appeared to be plenty more customization options. The equipped weapons had 3 plug-in slots. The SAS screen showed a currently equipped extrasensory power, pyrokinesis in Hanabi's case, which had 3 could equip additional psionic powers. Her pyrokinesis could also be leveled up to 6, and each level unlocked new skills, like cooldown reduction. Overall, Scarlet Nexus heavily reminds me of some of my favorite anime. With a pedigree of designers who have worked on the Tales series, I can at least be cautiously optimistic. At the very least, wielding objects with psychokinetic powers against the morbid, intriguing Others in Scarlet Nexus looks fun to me. For more on Scarlet Nexus, check out our interview with the director and producer, and stay tuned to IGN.
And welcome back. Billed as the Eurovision of games, Gamescom's first ever Europlay Games contest showcases 15 as of yet unreleased games from 15 different countries, and each of them won its own national event to qualify for this. The first ever Europlay is delivered by UGI, the UK Games trade body, in partnership with 14 other national games trade bodies, and it's sponsored by Dead Good PR, an amazing UK PR company focused on supporting game developers. Plus, it's hosted by Mr. Midas, a real man made of real gold. That last part is not true. Or is it? Stick around and find out. To see the real gold man, this is Gamescom Europlay. Gold!
say Thomas, but Tom Mark. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, and the same could be said about Ponpu, a French indie multiplayer game with a really cool art style. Here's Tom Marks with a closer look.
Welcome back to Check Out This Game, where we highlight exciting, under-the-radar games worth your attention. We're kicking off the second day of Gamescom 2020 with an exclusive look at Ponpu, a game that puts some wild and stylish twists on the classic Bomberman formula. Here's a first look at one of the bosses from its story mode. Like what you see? You can watch the extended version of this gameplay at IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN. And be sure to tune into Gamescom Awesome Indies Saturday, August 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific for more exclusive gameplay, trailers, and reveals of exciting upcoming indie games.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode. Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
You can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Welcome back. Now, it's been said that eyes are the windows to the soul, and sad songs are nature's onions, and a rose by any other name would smell just as sweet. And trailers are funny little mini-movies about cool new video games. Here are 4 brand new trailers for you to watch right here on Gamescom Studio.
They locked me up when I learned the truth. The fools think they can keep me here. I have met others that will assist me. Others that want to flee. We are planning our escape. And everyone has their role to play. But there are days when it is hard to hold on to hope. Or even clear thoughts. Each day, we come closer to the truth of what happened here. This place is cruel, unnatural, like a maze that never ends. Our minds have become as much of a prison as the crumbling walls of this monastery. We must find a way out. We must escape. Or I fear we will succumb to the madness of this place.
God, what is this place?
Look, I know a lot about a lot, but I don't know what's going on here.
God, is this me?
Yo, look at your dumbass face.
Human.
Who's your guy? Goddamn right. Boom, shakalaka.
I don't know how you came back from the dead, but this time, try to make the most of your chance. Do you really think that you are able to stand against the Empire and the robotic army? No one can. Turn back if you don't want to lose everything again.
The Queen took everything from me. My life, my freedom, my love. The robotic army has conquered my country, turned my people into slaves. They forced me to watch my family and my loved ones die. And they left me with nothing except anger and revenge. The Queen took everything from me, but not my will. Tell your dear Queen that my fire of vengeance will not subside until I kill every one of her robots. Tell her Nasser has come for everything.
We just got trailers for The Stone of Madness, Canarium's release on Nintendo Switch, Nazer, Son of Man, and the DLC for Lonely Mountains Downhill. What a sentence. Let's discuss. And we can start with The Stone of Madness. So before I toss it to Max or Brian, I just have some quick trivia about the Stone of Madness, because as a general term, it's actually a hypothetical stone in a person's head thought to cause madness. And doctors would go around in the 1400s extracting these stones from people's heads. Max, what do you think about this game?
I am super into this. This is also, I think we just announced it. There wasn't a whole lot to go on. It's always weird trying to research things that haven't been announced in advance, but I'm super into this. It's definitely got this kind of Hieronymus Bosch sort of vibe to it, but you play as, it is a group of inmates you're trying to gather to escape from a monastery. And there's a bunch of like kind of, I think, vaguely occult stuff going on where you have to basically maintain your own sanity. And yeah, there's a lot of I'm into it. I'm very into it.
This looks super cool.
It's also like, it's kind of cool to see like a tactical game that isn't just strictly about like, I don't know, getting the squad together and fighting aliens or wizards or whatever. Like it's very to be a group of ragtag prisoners working out an escape is very interesting. Looks like it'll have some kind of puzzle mechanics too.
Yeah,
I hope you can unlock a shirt for that guy, because he looks like cold and sickly. You know, like I'm worried about him. Like I get it, but it is worrisome.
It definitely looks like your appearance starts to suffer when your sanity begins suffering in this game. And it does look interesting, and it looks like there is a lot more to it than just the battle system, which looks cool. We also got to look at Canarium, which is a first-person Lovecraftian horror game, and it is coming to Switch.
Sweet.
Max, what do you think?
Yeah, I just burned through a ton of Lovecraft earlier this year. This one is I think pretty closely based on In the Mountains of Madness. And it's, I don't know, that's like kind of that's a good setup for one of those kind of environmental horror storytelling type exploration games. There's definitely obviously some additional stuff. It looks like there's large robot type things, but you know, you're journeying into this sort of nightmarish hellscape cosmic horror type of scenario where you see things just so unthinkable and impossible that they will make you go mad. But I'm glad that the kids with Nintendo Switch can experience this for themselves.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a little Bioshocky, but I'm really into the art direction and the creature design in this game, especially a lot of the sort of like the stuff that's happening around the environment here. The light, like the way it all kind of looks smoky and foggy and mysterious, is super, super cool.
Yeah, and I know it's very difficult to capture cosmic horror in video games or movies, but it seems that Canarium has done a pretty good job because it's super well regarded on Steam, and now we get to play it on Nintendo Switch and get some cosmic horror, besides like Bird Box and Annihilation, kind of along those lines. But we also just got to see Nazer, Son of Man, which looks pretty interesting. Brian, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, so this is a cover-based 2D shooter. Happens in an alternate history of 1875 when Queen Elizabeth II is the Queen of England. Obviously, a little bizarre, super steampunky as you can see here, which is kind of a hit or miss aesthetic for me generally. But something like SteamWorld Dig like really grabbed me. Sort of the sequel, and this sort of feels a little bit in line with that. I really like how polished this game looks, and once the action starts getting moving, like it's got really cool animation. Look at like the sort of the scope and the scale on the environments here. Is just fantastic. Like I really like how they managed to build this like fully almost lived in city for a 2D action cover based platforming game, which is like really awesome.
This looks like BioShock Infinite running on the Metal Slug engine. I'm super into it.
Yes.
It's also I feel like we basically never see 2D cover based shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting thing to approach. Usually that's always kind of third person somersaulting games, but this has got a lot going on. You've also got what appears to be the hand of God coming out of the sky and slapping people and punching stuff, which is interesting.
Yeah. It looks like the Master
on.
Hand from Smash Brothers, or like the thing that grabs you in the end of the dungeons in Zelda.
Yeah.
Now, there is a lot going on with this game. And lastly, we got to see Lonely Mountains Downhill DLC, and I think it's specifically called Eldfall Island DLC. And this is the first time we're hearing about the DLC for this game. Brian, I know you got to check out the base game a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, so there's been this like sort of bizarre resurgence of like dangerous stunt-based downhill bicycle games over the last few years, and I'm super into them. I played a ton of this game on Switch. This looks like you're now playing on what is a giant active volcano. This is honestly one of the funniest games ever made. It is absolutely hilarious watching your little character flip over and smash and practically explode. But yeah, as you can see, you raft with your bike to a volcano and then try to do treacherous stunts and loops and tricks. The cool thing about this game is that it's not open worldish, but it does give you a lot of opportunity in terms of wiggle room of the paths you want to take. It's not just directly, a two-dimensional plane. So you have a lot of opportunities to try out different paths and do different stuff and hurt your bicycle rider in various ways, which is fun.
Thanks for that sum up. And we have more trailers coming up for you next, including Humankind, which is an upcoming strategy game that takes place over the entire history of human civilization. I'm not quite sure how much of it can be covered in 10 minutes, but it's worth a shot. Here's Humankind.
Peggy 12.
For Humankind, we looked at how religion shaped history, sometimes in amazing ways, sometimes in darker ways. We wanted religion to reflect this, to reinforce the immersion, enabling you to craft a deeper identity for your civilization, but also providing a way for you to influence your people in the neighboring cultures. Now, religion evolves over the course of the game. It's volatile at first, with one religion for every civilization. Religions slowly consolidate into a few large blocks. Civics also allow you to decide how religion is handled in your civilization.
So once your population has grown enough, you're able to found your first religion. And then as the number of followers of that religion grows, you can add new tenets to the religion, which add bonuses. You can also adopt historical religions in order to gain access to additional holy sites. Territories generate faith based on civics, holy sites, religious districts, and so on. This faith is then used to spread your religion across the map. So if a territory is producing more faith than its neighbors, then after a few turns, those territories, those neighboring territories, will convert to your religion. You should note, though, that this can cause grievances, so be a cause for war down the road. Each civilization has a state religion. If enough followers of a different religion, though, are present within your borders, you can choose to adopt that religion as your state religion. There'll be impacts on stability, so either bonuses or penalties based on what proportion of your population follows your state religion, so you'll want to go along with what your population wants. And there are various other reasons why you might want to change. For instance, empires might be able to justify wars against you if you're of a different religion. Or you might want to adopt a neighbor's religion because it's quite strong, because it has a lot of tenets and bonuses. bear in mind that only the religious leader, so that is the civilization which controls the most holy sites, is able to pick the next tenets that will be added to the religion. Players will use civics to define their civilization's posture towards religion. So this will allow players to choose how they treat religious minorities or whether they go to war for religion. So you can pursue your religion very aggressively, expanding its borders, going to war, persecuting or banishing minorities, or you can go for something much more open. So accepting minorities, separating church and state. Or alternatively, you can leave this entirely up to your population. So you can accept the religion that they choose, maybe a neighbor's religion that's stronger than yours.
Various cultures in the game use religion in a number of different ways. For instance, in the early game, the Olmecs, with their emblematic district, the Colossal Head, are particularly good at spreading their religion because it produces a lot of faith. Other cultures have synergy bonuses, so gain economic benefits when they're building next to religious districts. And others as well might have military bonuses, so for instance, the Teuton culture, their Teuton knights, gain combat strength bonuses against units belonging to religions other than theirs.
So, religion is one additional way for you to shape your own civilization and leave your mark on humankind.
That was Humankind right here on Gamescom Studio, and there's still more to come. We're minutes away from a look at the fully remastered Age of Empires 3, and later on, we've got Little Nightmares 2 and lots more trailers. But right now, it's time for a quick break. Gamescom Studio will continue after this.
Still using those tiny phones and tablets to watch IGN? Give your eyeballs a rest because IGN has moved to your living room. Get first looks and in-depth reviews of the most talked about titles.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Pleasure to be here. And take a front row seat to the biggest events of the year. Tune in on your Samsung TV Plus, Pluto, and Flex, and take a load off. Tune in to IGN 1.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Welcome back. Gamescom Studio is flying by at a steady clip, but don't worry because there are 2 more full days of it, and if you're having trouble keeping track of all that, head to www.gamescom.global to see all the latest games content and get the full schedule so you don't miss anything, and you can even personalize your entire Gamescom experience by signing up for an account. Tune in tomorrow for the awesome indie show. That starts at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. Central European time. It's going to be a really fun variety showcase of indie game premieres, announcements, gameplay demos, and some great special guests, including Robot Tom. That's going to be weird.
That's right. And After that, you won't want to miss 3 solid hours of Earth's most deadly animals competing tooth and nail with your favorite influencers to escape from a burning submarine before it sinks and explodes at the same time.
Oh, no, they canceled that one because it's illegal on literally every level. But the Awesome Indie Show should be fun anyway. Anyway, Brian, what's coming up next?
It's not animals fighting, but either way, 15 years ago, Age of Empires 3 took the real-time strategy gaming world by storm. Fast forward to today, and it's finally getting a remaster, and fans couldn't possibly be more excited. Let's take a look.
I'm Ryan McCaffrey. Today we're talking Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. It is out October 15th on Steam, Windows 10, and Game Pass PC. I'm joined by Adam Eisgreen, Joss Ellis, and Bert Beekman from the various development teams that are working together on this. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. I want to start with Adam. Adam, for the new, maybe a newer generation of PC gamer who likes strategy games, but maybe they just, for whatever reason, they haven't found Age yet, but you've got this Age 3 definitive out very soon, and they want to just dive in. What's sort of the top level elevator pitch version of the franchise and of Age 3 specifically?
Well, Age is a series that's always concerned itself with history. We're a series of real-time strategy games that has always been about embracing what is amazing about humans and how we've come so far and how we've moved through history as different civilizations and which ones have kind of grown up and which ones have fallen under the weight of time. Age 3 is a great example of a very unique game that's set in kind of the colonial period of history, where the Americas were being discovered and great civilizations were expanding control. Age 3 is a unique beast within real-time strategy games because not only is it a strategy game that featured a tremendous amount of physics for the time, but also has a ton of unique mechanics you don't see in other real-time strategy games, such as a home city that almost acts like a deck building game that's a meta behind the actual real-time strategy game play. And beyond that, it's just a really great game with a ton of different units and 16 different civilizations that we've got that you can play as that center on the Americas, South America, Europe, and Asia, that you can all kind of bring into conquest and just have a great time, not only playing a wonderful real-time strategy game, but learning a lot about history along the way.
Joss, on the tech side, just bringing an older game forward, making it relevant and modern from a technical perspective, what have you guys been able to achieve with Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition?
Well, we did a complete grassroots kind of rebuild of it. So, I mean, the art looked good for the time, but we've rebuilt every single model, every single texture. We've moved it from DX9 to DX11 with a PBR lighting model. We've got ambient occlusion. We've got loads of nice little touches. It's also modern. So things like you walk through the units, you walk through the grass, and they beat it down. So actually, if you're following somebody quickly, you can spot where the people have been. We've done all of the water. We built the ability to make streams that sort of meander properly. There's kind of no area that we haven't not touched. We've got whole new particle systems in there. We've got a complete refresh of Havoc, who've obviously moved their system on a lot in the intervening years. So Destruction has got a lot more fidelity to it. And in fact, when you will see some of the before and after pictures of some of the units that seem to be pretty good in the old game, when you actually look at them, they're just kind of like hacked. They kind of look like they're made of chopped wood kind of thing compared with the new one. I think it just brings the whole thing a richness and a vitality to being able to put a lot of this stuff into it.
Bert, on the gameplay side, you guys have added a couple new game modes here, right?
Yes, indeed. When we worked on Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, we added this thing called Art of War. And Art of War is really a way to help people learn the game the way it's played today. Because a lot of people like to play against AI and then play a multiplayer game, and they see like, oh, there's a massive, massive gap to bridge. Especially because everybody who has been playing this game has been playing it competitively for like almost 10, 15 years.
Right.
And that's an enormous knowledge gap that we wanted to bridge. And that's why we added the Art of War missions to kind of help explain those more advanced pieces of RTS knowledge and try to share that with Age of Empires 3 players as well. So we noticed that was super successful in Age of Empires 2DE, so that's why we absolutely want to add it to Age of Empires 3D as well.
Can you speak a little bit to the thing I was going to bring up is the tweaks to the Native American culture in the game? I know that's been addressed as well.
Yes, indeed. So just talking about the design of those American civilizations, there were a few things that were always a bit odd, and actually that surprised us as well when we looked into it. We worked together with Native American counselors, and they basically told us, one of the things that they told us was like, hey, these guys never actually mined gold. And we were like, oh, okay, that's such a core mechanic of the game. How can we work around that? And so we made basically a replacement to the whole gold mine mechanic with some sort of trading, fur trading mechanic that they now have. And that's something that works out pretty well and is more culturally appropriate. And was quite a challenge to get those things right.
Adam, what have you and your team learned from doing the previous 2 definitive editions for Age that you've been able to apply to make the Age 3 definitive edition even better?
I think the most important thing that we've learned and grown along the way as a studio is in listening to our fans and working with them on these definitive editions. Every single one that we've done, it's become more and more imperative and obvious to us as we engage more with everyone that loves these games that they have a strong voice in what needs to be in the games, and we wanted to make sure we could deliver on that. Our goal with all these definitive editions, within Age of Empires, actually Age of Empires all up even, is just to make sure that we're making wonderful games that can stand the test of time. And one of the reasons this franchise has been going so long is because of such wonderful fans that love the games and they love history. And so, I mean, all of our learnings have been everything that's kind of been brought to us by fans. And what we've been trying to do is every single definitive edition that we've done, we're kind of leapfrogging each one. So we'll find something that works really well in one, and we'll continue it to the next one and the next one. And even sometimes retroactively, we'll go back and put into features or look at putting in features that have resonated so well in the others. And I fully expect that to continue into Age 4 as well. So something like Art of War, which has gone over really well because we wanted to teach players the fun of real-time strategy games and why they're great. And because we've been doing these kind of unique versions of each one, Art of War is not the same, by the way, across the games. They dive in and teach you nuances of the actual games themselves and why they're different as well. That we're going to continue doing that. And we're going to continue to listen to the fans about game modes and methods of play, interface. There's all kinds of things that we've learned along the way. And it's been a great experience, like really opening up to the fans and letting them be part of the conversation and how we develop these games.
Bert, we talked about the couple new game modes. There are 2 new civilizations in this as well, yes?
Yes, indeed. We noticed that when we worked on Age 2 as well, we added a few new civilization to the definitive edition, and people just love that. People love to explore more content, to explore more cultures. And with Age of Empires 3, we had an excellent opportunity to add some new civilizations to the games as well. So we've added Sweden and the Inca. Especially the Inca were very interesting because they're such a massive culture. They were the largest empire in South America, fitted perfectly in this whole Age of Empires 3 time frame and game flow. And then on the other hand, we have Sweden. And this one is very interesting because it's the first time Sweden is ever in like any Age of Empires games. And that's because they're such a small country, really, that's really punched above their weight during the 17th and 18th century, which is kind of the era of Age of Empires 3. And that makes them super interesting. Like such a tiny nation that had such a profound impact on history at the time, to be able to put that in Age of Empires as well.
Joss, before we start to wrap up here, I just built a new gaming PC. I'm looking right at it behind the camera here, and so I've got the whole thing like just decked out. How can I fully take advantage? Like, what is the max amount of like frame rate and resolution? Like, how can I take full advantage of my new PC with Age 3 Definitive?
Okay, I'll quickly add, we've gone to huge pains to make this game work on pretty low-end systems, so you're going to get a good experience across the board. If you want to crank it to the max, it's fast CPU is one of the big things. And the more gigahertz, you don't necessarily need a ton of cores, but a fast CPU and a decent GPU. 4K is fully supported, obviously. We can actually span any number of monitors. You could have 5 of them, and you could drag the window across the lot if you want to try.
I want to see someone do that.
So yeah, we've really gone to pains to try and support everything from a very bottom end, kind of like literally a Surface Pro 3, right the way up to an epic gaming rig. With NVMe drives will help a tons of RAM. You don't need an RX 3000 series though. I personally have got a 1080 Ti, and that runs it awesomely right the way to the top at 60 frames the whole way. So.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you so much, Adam, Joss, and Bert. Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. Again, pick it up October 15th on Steam, Windows 10 PC, or if you're an Xbox Game Pass for PC subscriber, you can snag it from there as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
That was Age of Empires 3 Remastered. In just a moment, we're taking a look at Little Nightmares 2, but first, let's take a quick break, if you dare. Did we use that one already? I'm not sure if we used that one already. Anyway, stick around for more Gamescom because it's going to be bananas.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Still using those tiny phones and tablets to watch IGN? Give your eyeballs a rest because IGN has moved to your living room. Get first looks and in-depth reviews of the most talked about titles.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Pleasure to be here.
And take a front row seat to the biggest events of the year. Tune in on your Samsung TV Plus, Pluto, and Flex, and take a load off. Tune in to IGN 1.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Casey, do you know Ryan Scott? He does comment.
Welcome back. In 2017, Little Nightmares struck an unlikely balance between a charming puzzle platformer where you played as a little kid and a terrifying horror game in which all sorts of unthinkable monstrosities came scuttling out of the shadows to try to eat the aforementioned little kid. And later this year, it's getting a sequel where whole new monsters are going to try to eat a whole new little kid. Let's check it out. It's spooky.
Little Nightmares introduced us to a disturbing world inhabited by monstrous enemies, like the misshapen janitor with his elongated hands, or the corpulent twin chefs preparing a grotesque feast for their disgusting guests. Following a hands-on encounter with the first adversary in Little Nightmares 2, I'm happy to say the sequel is proving to be just as unnerving. This particular tale puts you in control of Mono, a diminutive figure who adorns his head with a paper bag and an oddly cute fashion statement. Where the first installment had you navigating the tight confines of a ship, this sequel introduced me to a foreboding yet equally oppressive woods. It wasn't long before I hesitantly explored the basement of an old shack to find an imprisoned child who turned out to be Six, the protagonist from the first story, minus her signature yellow raincoat. True to its predecessor, Little Nightmares 2 will have you navigating the side-scrolling world and interacting with often oversized environments to overcome obstacles, uncover paths, and dodge traps, or worse. The locations are suitably haunting as they are engrossing, with every discarded item and object telling a story you aren't quite sure you want to hear the ending to. The true danger in my hour-long demo took the distorted form of the Hunter, a truly disturbing bag-headed foe armed with a trusty hunting shotgun. The Hunter's appearance is marked by some excellent use of ominous lighting and skin-crawling sounds that made quite the first impression. Unlike some of the enemies in the first Little Nightmares, surviving this encounter wasn't about staying out of reach, it was about avoiding detection and scrambling for cover when the former failed. Escaping the demented Elmer Fudd may not have been overly difficult, but it did provide several tense moments of cat and mouse. Having an AI companion in 6 proved to be an interesting change, even if it didn't alter the flow of the game that much. I was able to beckon her over to assist in certain puzzles, but most of the time felt like she already knew what to do next. I also noticed that by following my lead, she never really presented herself as a target to the Hunter, and honestly, I'm glad for that. Nothing turns horror into frustration like an AI partner that's more trouble than they're worth, but I do hope that 6 gets more chances to prove herself. My time in the forest of Little Nightmares 2 felt well paced with the right amount of tension that never dragged on for too long. The demo reached its end just outside the towering structures of a city that looked as though it had sprang out of a deranged children's book. I can only excitedly guess what fresh horrors I'll find waiting within when Little Nightmares 2 releases on PC and consoles later this year.
That was Little Nightmares 2 here on Gamescom Studio, and that little boy really did jump in that hole. Up next, for almost 2 decades, the Stronghold series has been all about strategically waging war and dominating the battlefield, but now it's also about friendship. Well, friendship with other warlords so you can strategically gang up on your enemies together. Here's Stronghold Warriors.
The next chapter in Firefly's classic real-time strategy series, Stronghold Warlords is the latest in a line of unique castle sim games. Developed by Firefly Studios, creators of the original Stronghold and Stronghold Crusader, Stronghold Warlords introduces new RTS mechanics, classic Stronghold units, and 4 unique regions. In Stronghold Warlords, players must first design, build, and manage a fully realised castle economy, before taking the fight to rival opponents lifted from the pages of history. But you won't be alone in the fights, with the addition of a completely new way to play Stronghold in the Warlord system. Players will besiege Great Khans, Imperial leaders, Shogun commanders and more as they grow their castle economy and construct new gunpowder-fueled siege weapons. Taking players from the jungles of Vietnam and the Mongolian steppe to the warring states of China and finally feudal Japan, this new setting is built into each aspect of our castle sim gameplay. Popularity with your subjects is influenced by a wider variety of factors than ever before. A granary full of rice, meat and vegetables might keep your peasants from revolting, but in order to raise taxes, an army, and get the most from your workers, they'll need more than just full bellies. Quality clothing and housing, temples, tea houses, medieval entertainment, and even torture devices all have a role to play in the continued happiness and obedience of your peasant population. Fail to stay on their good side and peasants will abandon the player, leaving you without farmers, blacksmiths, diplomats, and indeed soldiers with which to defend your keep. Introducing new cultures, mechanics, and historical detail to the series for the first time, Warlords is built around the central Warlord system, a grand strategy mechanic that allows players to recruit, upgrade, and command 8 unique warlords across the battlefield. Once under your command, either through force or diplomacy,
I serve a new master. My army is ready.
Each warlord boosts your strategic prowess with unique perks, characteristics, and upgradable abilities. Early on, players can boost their diplomacy and gold reserves with the help of the Crane Warlord, who also has a unique perk that boosts popularity within the castle. Later in the game, we might turn to more military-focused warlords, like the Tiger and Dragon. These more aggressive warlords can do everything from increasing melee damage and offering spiritual guidance, to growing your army with special units and even launching a full siege attack on the enemy. Utilize each warlord to boost your industry, fortify borders, forge weapons or launch a pincer attack, and you'll dominate the battlefield in no time. Each mission and multiplayer battle means a fresh set of warlords to command and new dynamics for every castle built.
With all the warlords in this region, we have the numbers to launch a single great assault on the castle.
To defend their castles, players will take command of Mongol hordes, Imperial warriors and samurai clansmen. as they prepare to besiege everything from Japanese castles to fortified Chinese cities. In addition to classic weapons like the trebuchet and mighty siege tower, Warlords also introduces gunpowder to the series for the first time. The Korean hwacha, rocket launchers, and fire oxen, inspired by Chinese siege warfare, are all options for players hoping to breach enemy walls and thin out an attacking siege force. When it comes to infantry, players will be able to recruit all new units including fire lancers, disciplined samurai, Mongolian bowmen, and heavily armoured imperial troops. Combine these with your siege weapons of choice and players will have all the tools they need to break enemy lines and defeat the enemy warlord. Whether you become the greatest lord through fear or admiration, military might or careful diplomacy, players will journey from 3rd century BC China and Vietnam all the way through to the rise of the Tokugawa shogunate and the coming of the Mongol Empire.
You just got to look at Stronghold Warlords, not Warriors, Brian, right here on Gamescom Studio. And if that wasn't enough of a chilling journey into the macabre, brace yourselves. Here is an isometric Soulsborne that blends Lovecraftian influences with Cronenbergian gore. Cast your gaze upon Morbid, the Seven Acolytes, if you dare. We definitely didn't If You Dare already. Are we doing another one of those? Here it is, If You Dare. Check it out.
Greetings, my name is Simo Talasranta. I'm the composer, sound designer, and writer at Still Running. I'm very excited to talk to you today about our upcoming horror punk action RPG, Morbid the Seven Acolytes. Morbid the Seven Acolytes is the most gruesome take on the isometric Souls-like genre yet. The game is all about Lovecraftian horrors, Cronenbergian gore, and exploring an immersive fantasy world of gothic steampunk aesthetics, abundant with deep and tragic lore. In Morbid, you get to play as the last surviving Striver of Dibrum, a young but fierce underdog trained in both melee and ranged combat. Your duty is to defeat the Seven Acolytes, accursed and powerful beings possessed by the malevolent deities called Gahars, who've taken over the kingdom. Here we see one of the Acolytes, Lorn the Blind. Once a great leader of the proud sailors of Solia, Lorn fell for the Gahars, who removed his eyes and imprisoned him in the caverns of solitude. Bitter and angry, Lorn vowed to take the eyes of any traveler who by chance or purpose would ever cross his domain. One of the most impactful features of the game are the blessings of Magratheus, which allow the player to level up and customize the skill set of their character in countless different ways. As the amount of available blessings, slots, and skill points increase over the game, your options to develop your character branch out exponentially. You could become an expert in ranged combat, specialize in certain melee weapon groups, build a tanky bruiser, a sneaky assassin, an agile acrobat, or go absolutely nuts with your build and try something completely different. All in accordance to your preferred playstyle, of course. The land of Mornia is both vast and diverse. Rummaging through every nook and cranny of the world might take time, but rest assured you will be rewarded. Some of the best loot in the game lies off-road or can only be earned through beating the many optional bosses and side quests of the game. Early on in development, we knew that the boss fights will be a central feature in Morbid. Therefore, a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and hair, I might add, have been shed to make them as awesome as possible. Here we see Lady Tristana, Mother Grief, a controversial character who uses her own placenta as a weapon. We really wanted to do something unforgettable with the Acolytes, and thus, each new boss fight aims to bring something fresh and exciting to the table, upping the ante both conceptually and gameplay-wise till the very end of the game. It's also worth mentioning that all the Acolytes have their own epic tracks on the fully orchestrated soundtrack of Morbid, so be sure to keep an ear out for them. We will also have a dialogue system in the game, which further enables us to bring Mornia alive, as the player can interact with the many interesting characters of the world. But more on that on a later date. Because another important feature we'd like to present to you today is the sanity meter, the blue bar on the left side of the screen there. Sanity has both thematically and mechanically a large role in the game, as the player has to manage her mental health whilst facing the abysmal horrors of the accursed kingdom of Mornia. Losing your sanity to the many mind-draining monsters of the world naturally has some pretty nasty side effects. However, you can work the deranged state of your character to your advantage, if you're skilled enough. Morbid the Seven Acolytes is no walk in the park. Challenging foes, mini-bosses, and large-scale boss fights are central features of the game. To overcome these obstacles, you must master the combat and the mechanics of the game, as well as improve your character and gear through various RPG elements, such as quests, perks, runes, upgrades, and of course, looting. We are very excited to be bringing Morbid the Seven Acolytes to Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One later this year. So stay tuned and follow us on social media to join us in taking the final steps of the development and to be among the first to know the official release date of Morbid the Seven Acolytes. That's all for now. Thank you so much for your time. Magratheus bless you.
Well, that was morbid. No, I mean, the game is literally called Morbid the Seven Acolytes, but anyway, we have a lot more coming up here on Gamescom Studio, but first, a quick break. Stick around.
Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indies Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now. Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
This year, Gamescom is streaming to you on IGN, and now you can watch it unfold on TikTok. World premieres, exclusive gameplay, cosplay, interviews, and unforgettable moments from the biggest show in gaming can now be crammed right into the palm of your hand. Check out IGN and Gamescom's TikTok accounts and use the hashtags Heart of Gaming and Gamescom 2020 to get in on the action.
And welcome back once again to Gamescom Studio. We're still going strong, but be sure to stick around afterwards for the Gamescom Daily Show hosted by Michael Swaim. Depending where you live, it might be a late night daily show or possibly an early afternoon daily show, but either way, it will have brand new indie games, guests, some goofing around, and other miscellaneous fun. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, or 11 p.m. Central European Time, right here, where you're watching me say this into the camera right now.
And remember, you can check out all the streams and videos and other people talking into cameras on Gamescom's official Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamescom or on YouTube at MyGamescom. And you can stay in touch via Twitter and Instagram at Gamescom or by using the hashtag Gamescom2020. And finally, on TikTok, be sure to follow at Gamescom.global and use the hashtag Heart of Gaming to join the conversation. And finally, if you write the word Gamescom on a piece of paper and put it in a bottle and throw it into the sea, that is technically littering, so please don't do that.
I prefer carrier pigeons. Coming up in just a bit, we're chatting with Troy Baker about his terrifying new role in The Medium, and we're also going to challenge him to apply his iconic award-winning voice to a bunch of video game characters who have never had voices before. So that should go well.
But right now, it's time for Captain Tsubasa, Rise of New Champions. Take a look.
Hello, I'm Simon, and I'm joined by Joe.
Hello.
We're going to play some Captain Tsubasa for you. I'm going in this quite blind, Joe, but I've done a little bit of research. I didn't realise quite how storied the history of Captain Tsubasa was.
Yeah, I think it's worth pointing out up top, the reason we are doing this is because we are both fans of the game of football/soccer.
Yes.
Not because we understand Captain Tsubasa. We are neophytes for Tsubasa.
No, but you are playing as Captain Tsubasa's team.
Yeah, Nankatsu.
And I am Toho Academy, who I believe, from my research, are rivals.
So I think, are we saying I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy? I think so.
I think in the lore that may be correct.
Good. I think that's true of real life as well.
Yes, we actually hate each other.
Yeah.
But here we are at Saitama World Stadium, and I can confirm it's going wild.
That's my boy Tsubasa on the front in the white, and you've got Hyuga, who in our brief practices with this game has been dynamite. I'm quite worried about him.
He's got a foot like a traction engine.
He
It's
does.
Unbelievable. He's got this tiger shot, which this isn't. Got to preface this. If you're expecting some like PES, some Pro Evo, some FIFA gameplay, this is not what this is. This is more like, in the crudest of terms, your kind of Dragon Ball of football.
Yeah, I think you can compare how it works with. It's a football game in appearance and in setup, but in gameplay, you're looking at something closer to almost a fighting game. There are gauges to charge, combos of characters to use, special moves that only work in certain areas. So I think, there's a lot to dig into under the surface, and it's sort of unexpected how much of that seems to draw from other types of games.
Who are you looking forward to seeing play today?
Well, honestly, I'm not looking forward to seeing him play, but I know you've got Wakushimazu in goal, who is a beast in appearance and ability. So I'm quite worried about that.
Yeah. We'll see him later, but he would not look out of place in Motley Crue.
I like to think we'll see him very soon, to be honest.
Yeah.
No.
There also seems, from our short time in the game, no fouls, which you may have just realised from that challenge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Why would you want fouls? Here we go. Tsubasa himself. Come on. And then you get these beautiful things. Oh, yeah, there he is.
There he is, Mr. Motley.
But you do get some very tasteful animations when people are...
The animations on the
saving.
saves and the shots are great.
Yeah.
Like, this has actually made me want to check out the anime. I know it started as a manga. Do you know what year Captain Tsubasa was created, Joe?
No, I don't.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
I'm going to say...
wild punt.
1994.
1981.
What? Captain Tsubasa's so much older than me.
The creator, Takahashi, was inspired by the 1978 World Cup in Argentina.
Oh, that's really nice. Isn't he only 11 in the lore of the game?
He started out at 11.
I've
was
never
a school
done.
student dreaming of winning the World Cup.
I just want to point out I've never done a corner kick in this game before, so I'm just going to work out how this works. Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, you hit that hard. Oh my lord, what's happening?
I don't know. Oh, a battle. Oh, I lost the battle.
Oh, I think I won it.
You did.
It hasn't gone in the goal, so I think I won it.
So to explain, when you get those dead ball moments where it's sort of dropped up into the air, you have a button bashing moment, which you will absolutely have been able to hear through our mics. My basic game plan here is to just stop it from ever going to Hugo, because he scares me. Oh no!
Same
What a terrible
with
pass.
Tsubasa. Keep it away. I just want to kind of get the ball in your half at the moment. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, and I've done it.
And that's the end. See you later, Hugo. Absolutely
ran
battered
out
him.
of. So your yellow bars is like it's called is it your spirit gauge?
It is your spirit bar.
Yes. So you can do special moves once that's full, but sprinting seems to drain it quite.
Yeah, you don't want to
quickly,
be
so can't
sprinting
just-
too much. You want to be taking this more
No.
leisurely aspect. Although
Yeah.
this is
It's a game for your Pirlos, not your Sterling.
Absolutely. Oh, Takasugi, I love
He's
watching
so
him.
Big. He's huge.
He's meant to be an 11-year-old boy.
I think because they've aged with time over the series. I think at this point they may be in their teens or 20s.
Okay.
Because I don't know about Captain Tsubasa.
Banana
That's
shot!
Quite the career, Joe.
I've just done a banana shot.
It's green. It's going in.
Oh,
it's not. What a keeper.
He's very good.
Did you know, Joe, that
Is this your fact sheet?
yeah, this is my fact sheet, which is very hard to read whilst you're playing. But he started in Japan, but then I think at the age of 17, he moved to Sao Paulo to play in
Home of
Brazil.
football. Or the home of good
And-
football.
Yes. And there he met, and I thought this may be of interest to you, he met Flamengo star striker Carlos Santana.
Yes! That's brilliant. I thought you were going to... Oh! He's just done... That's an incredible...
What a block.
How did
That
you
would
do
break
that?
his ankle.
I suppose.
That's an ankle breaker.
Yeah, but that's the guts that leads to the glory, my friend.
Carlos Santana was described as a prodigious yet emotionless talent.
Would you call him Smooth by Rob Thomas?
You very much could. You are all over me here, but I'm kind of playing for the... Oh my lord.
What was that? What are you playing for?
Just lulling you in. I think my problem is here. I'm trying to play football. And I should be trying to play Tsubasa.
You should be trying to play anime.
Yeah.
You want all the big jumps. You want the things where they make you shout beforehand. You know, don't do a big one. No.
When Tsubasa gets the ball, that little red thing above his head. The ball is my friend.
Bearer of victory
Which,
of mine.
I pulled the keeper out.
I think he'll still get it.
No, he didn't. That's a foolish mistake.
Dumbfounded the goalie.
Oh,
That's what you want to see. You want to see the hero scoring a big goal.
you do. The ball is my friend. Is his motto.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Did you say that
When
there are real football teams that have appeared in the anime?
It's very true. There is. I don't know if they've, and a lot that they've kind of they've rebadged it.
Oh, okay, right. So it's not an official.
So I don't know
licensed
how many
appearance.
of them are actually official, but like after Sao Paulo, he did move to Barcelona, but they are called FC Catalunya.
Yeah, but
in
they'd quite. I imagine they'd quite like to be called that anyway.
yeah, very true.
Taki, Kitsugi, bullet shot.
Oh no, I'm getting absolutely done.
Oh, he's
it's gonna
so
be 2.
good.
But do you know what? Who he was managed by at Barcelona?
Please tell me it was like Ruud Gullit.
You're not far off. It was someone called Van Saal who was modelled on Louis van Gaal.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I really want to watch this show now. What is this? What?
That was incredible.
Do you know what? I'm going to stop with the facts briefly and try and score a goal.
You're not.
Oh
mate.
no. I'm going back to the facts.
The ball is my friend.
Oh
Goal getter.
no, slid in there.
Shibutsu trio. Here we go. Oh no,
No.
I didn't charge long enough. So you'll see when you go for a shot, you've got to charge for as long as possible. Which again, very Dragon Ball. Love it. Oh, he's on his way. Oh, I'm stopping. Oh, he's going.
No,
Yes.
it took so long to get the shot away.
But you need to get to the very top of your bar and then an extra little bar to get the full shot power ability. which is
It's
great.
been utter domination
We've
so
seen
far.
this
12
zero
shots to none.
shots. I'm so
Do you want to
sorry.
know? Here is, according to the Captain Tsubasa Wikipedia, the following footballers have been inspired by Captain Tsubasa and indeed chosen it as a career because of Captain Tsubasa.
Real players.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
We've got Hidetoshi Nakata.
Yes.
Alessandro Del Piero.
Of course.
Fernando Torres, Zinedine Zidane, Lionel Messi, Alexis Sanchez, and Andres Iniesta apparently would not be playing football if it was not for Captain Tsubasa.
I get that vibe from Zinedine Zidane. Although, to be fair, anime is very big in France, so there's every chance.
Are you telling me the world would not have had Messi if it wasn't for Captain Tsubasa?
I think that's a given. I think that's... And speaking of, Shay Given also
Given Shay Given,
inspired by Captain Tsubasa. Takasugi.
No,
I love him.
He's so big.
He's an actual iron giant.
Unless he is the size of a person and everyone else is indeed a child.
There is that.
Pass the ball. Oh my.
That's the
Can't
thing.
get past him.
We're probably just not paying attention to the law at all. No!
I've had a shot at least. Oh. Do you know in the 2018 World Cup that Japanese fans held up a massive tifo of Captain Tsubasa?
Did they?
I must have missed that because that must look incredible.
That would sound great.
With like mottos from the series as well. Like,
That's really cool.
such as the ball is my friend.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Drive shot.
Catch it, please. It's only 1-0 despite the dominance by Nenkatsu.
It's because you've got OP keeper
Toho is
boy.
still in it.
Here we go.
I've got spirit.
Cross. I want a big one. Oh man, he's missed it. I thought I was going for a bicycle
Went
kick
too
and he
big.
just didn't do anything. He's got a fierce tiger's soul. That's what I've heard. How?
Oh,
he's turned me like on my head like a top.
Just have it. Big tiger time.
This is going in.
Oh!
He's unbelievable.
Look at him.
He's the greatest player of our times. So he makes Tsubasa look like a mug. This is astonishing. What's that? 40 yards?
At least.
Absolutely
Keeper
incredible.
should have had that near post.
I do love that the big shots leave scorch marks on the pitch.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really
It's a
nice touch.
lovely touch.
It reminds me of my first ever PS1 game, Actua Soccer 3.
Did they have scorch marks?
Well, every time you slid, it left
Oh,
behind a
yeah.
huge like mud patch, and you could draw with it. Me and my brother used to do drawings with slide tackles.
They were very savoury drawings.
Well, they were fine. It's because Actua Soccer was a very bad game, so it was more
I
fun
wouldn't
to
hear anything
draw.
about it.
Oh no, not this again. There we go. That's
I
how
tried
you
to-
get rid of
My
Hugo.
R2 dribble move. I tried it. Oh no.
He's gone.
Oh no.
He's gone. The boy.
I mean, it's only right if Tsubasa
The
wins.
boy. He's going close. Oh no.
Counts.
I didn't know if it would make any difference.
Oh no. I don't think there's a lob.
Bullet
so-
shot. Here we go. Go in.
Oh, he's too good.
He's so powerful. No. Wait, can I use this?
Doing it again.
Give me the
Unleash
V-power.
the tiger.
V-power. Yes.
What?
Yeah. That's a
What's
special
the physics on
goalkeeper
that?
super move. I have wasted my special power there. Uh-oh. Not straight back to Hugo. Oh, God.
Oh no. Absolutely demolished. Do you know that when Tsubasa went to Barcelona, though, Van Sar wasn't the biggest fan. Put him in the B team straight away.
He'll do that. You've got to keep
He will
egos
do
in
that.
check on these young players.
And he was
Oh no, Kasuga, come on.
instead coached by the B team coach Rivaul, who was inspired by Rivaldo.
Was he a B team coach? He must have been actually
I-
playing at
well,
that time.
I don't know. Famously, on the IGN UK podcast, Rivaldo was my director of football at Rochdale.
Here we go. High
So
speed shot.
he's had a career. Oh no.
Oh, this boy
Oh,
again.
go for the block. Look at that,
Kiwabe's an
yeah.
absolute beat.
Oh, I didn't turn off my notifications, so there's a trophy for courageous performance. And I think we can all agree that was pure courage from that lad there.
Oh, I just need this. I need this win. I don't know if this is something we don't understand, but the matches are 30 minutes long, not 45. Drive shot.
I don't know if it's...
Please, this would be like a last-minute goal.
But it's a great save instead.
Again.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it so... Is it youth football? Do they play 30-minute halves at youth football? That lad shouldn't be playing youth football. Look at the size of him. Insane.
Oh my god, why won't he shoot? It is nuts how often Yuka gets the ball. Final wall.
There's no limit to his range.
This is going in. Oh, it's unbelievable.
What a comeback. Oh,
I think that's it. I think that's the end of the game. That is...
Did you know that in the series, Hyuga actually played for Juventus?
Did he?
Yeah, but
the old lady.
In his first game against Parma, he did not score because his physical imbalance is exposed by Parma defender Lilian Thuram.
Amazing. Oh my god, I've got to shoot now. I've got to shoot now.
Going defensive. Oh yes! No! What a comeback. Hyuga. Ballon d'Or for him.
Nankatsu. How are they going to pick themselves up after this? I can't say I'm happy about it, but I have to respect the decision. We've got words to be had in the dressing room with the boys, and Tsubasa might be stripped to the captaincy, and I'll give it to that big lad.
You can't strip the captaincy from Captain Tsubasa. The game is Captain Tsubasa.
At the start it is. If it's my game, Captain Big Lad.
Captain Big Lad. He should be captain. It's a different take on football. I think we can agree on that.
Absolutely. Big, powerful, fiery one.
Dragon Football Z.
Would have been better if you hadn't stumbled at the end, but yeah, call it there.
Yeah. Okay. See ya.
Bye.
That was Captain Tsubasa Rise of New Champions, which is available today. We need to take a short break, but stick around because Gamescom Studio continues after this.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide. Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indies Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now.
Hey there! Do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now! Do it! Just go! Vote! Go vote!
Welcome back to Gamescom Studio. In a little while, we'll be taking a look at Waylanders, some new updates that are coming to Sea of Thieves, and of course, Michael Swain will be taking over later with the Gamescom Daily Show to show off some fun indies, have a fun, silly time with some guests, generally get pretty weird. They've got some very strange stuff planned over there. I'm sorry if we keep popping in here to tell you what's happening next, but if you'd like to see a full schedule, you can head over to www.gamescom.global. You can find tons more gaming content over there.
Yeah, hey Max, I think these people came here to see trailers, not hear you ramble on about whatever you just said.
Well, I was just
listening.
saying people can go to www.gamescom.global for a full.
I'm really sorry about him. Here are some trailers.
Create and live in your own dream worlds. Your cyberpunk lives are safe.
Once more you enter this place of desolation and ruin. Long have I watched you, your every waking and every passing.
Heed my words and return to your own waking reality, Wanderer. You cannot comprehend the implications this place has for your kind.
If you're reading this message, it means that I have failed you.
Only a handful of your kind could reach this point.
Who are you people?
Listen to me. All of us are in grave danger.
There is hearsay about someone called a Pirion.
You must focus. I know you.
He can even enter your mind and your dreams without a connection.
This all happened because of that rite of transmigration of yours.
I want to prevent you and the others from sharing our fate.
What did we do? Who is hunting us down?
We'll meet very soon.
Oh, God.
What would happen to the world in which appeared a device capable of cloning anything? Corporation Infinity invented QMRD, Quantum Matter Reproduction Device. The gun for cloning quickly spread around, and very soon, all came to an end. I have to create my own clones and sacrifice them in order to survive in this dangerous place. The place where everything is a copy, and I can't even be sure in my own authenticity. But I have a goal. It is in the lair of the corporation. I will get there. despite all obstacles, deadly traps, and puzzles. No matter how many clones of me it's worth. Do you think dystopia is fiction? No. This is my reality.
We just saw trailers for Transient, Hack, Zelter, and Overloop. So let's discuss with Transient. So this is another H.P. Lovecraftian game that was made by the same people who made the other H.P. Lovecraftian game we saw earlier today. Max, what do you think?
Yeah, it's the dev team behind Conarium, or Conarium. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, this one I think is immediately way more interesting to me. It is blending cyberpunk themes and Lovecraftian stuff. It's kind of cool that we're seeing between this and Observer, this blend of like cyberpunk and horror, because really vanilla cyberpunk is just sort of played out. Like get crazy with it. But yeah, this looks terrifying and also really cool and colorful, which is kind of an odd blend. But yeah, I'm into it. I don't know if I'll actually play it because I'm a huge scaredy cat, but I like the aesthetics we're seeing on display here.
You could always tiptoe, just walk very, very slowly through the game.
Sometimes I feel like it's even worse. Like when I'm playing PT, I just kind of run as fast as possible while screaming and hope nothing gets me. But yeah, that's Transient. It looks pretty cool. Made in the Unreal Engine 4. It looks neat. But yeah, too spooky for us. But we also got to see Hack, which is a Metroidvania-inspired action platformer where the main character has a cool cape. Brian, you like Metroidvanias. What do you think?
I love Metroidvanias. Casey, also, you and I host Nintendo Voice Chat together with some other wonderful people, and we luckily get to talk about Metroidvanias constantly. This one is on my radar because it looks a little sort of different than the usual Metroidvania. Like the art direction is a little darker. It's got, I guess you would say, like a slightly limbo aesthetic, but also like the movement's a lot quicker. You got this cool sort of grappling hook thing, as you can see how dynamic the character's whipping around. I'm really into like sort of action platforming combat stuff, and with a Metroidvania angle on there as well. It sounds like it's going to be like really fun to kind of whip around and explore. I finished playing Carrion a couple weeks ago, and like that same sort of deal, like the way you move around these games is really make it or break it for me. And this one looks like it's going to be super fun to explore.
I love Metroidvanias on an exploration level. It's the whether or not the platforming is super punishing. That's kind of where it loses me. But this one, I really love the aesthetic. And if you showed this game to me in like 1995, my brain would have exploded. It looks like such a wonderful kind of progression of 16-bit aesthetics, but throwing in some sort of anime influences there. Speaking of which, we also saw Zelter. We were talking about this before. We're trying to figure out why it's called Zelter. It's shelter with a Z for zombie. I think that's the joke. It's because
that sounds about right.
I
can't believe I didn't figure that out.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds vaguely German or something. But yeah, no, it looks like if zombies ate my neighbors grew up a little bit, threw in a little bit of sort of don't starve survival elements and crafting. I like that they got kind of the Zombieland rules for survival in there. Yeah, and then doing some Animal Crossing tree whacking to get some apples and wood.
Yeah, it looks like it has like just enough Stardew Valley in it too, which I kind of dig. One thing that you'll probably see is the zombie movement in this game is awesome and scary. They are very, very quick, and it's very different. I think it's a little more 28 Days Later zombie rather than Night of the Living Dead zombie, which is really awesome. They're fast and terrifying, which is definitely going to add to the tension when you play this game.
No, Zelter does look really cool, and I think I might actually play this one. So we'll see when it comes out. But it's also coming out in October for everyone else who is also interested in Zelter. But we also got to see Overloop, where you make clones to solve platform puzzles, and looks kind of morbid. Not the game, but the adjective, and not super ethical. What do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like thrusting your personal clone selves to the death so you can keep going, which is kind of not very ethical. But I really love the sort of chunky pixel art style here. The little tie he has on, like, look at this. He just basically goes, "Yeah, you're dead. I'll keep going. Thanks."
I like the sort of the tone they struck with the VO in the trailer is very I don't know. It's obviously got some sort of Portal influences here of being like, maybe these corporate scientists aren't up to any good, and let's use this weird futuristic gun to solve some puzzles on the way to deal with them.
The story definitely has me very interested, and I kind of want to know what the corporation is doing and what he's going to do when he gets there, because they didn't really tell us that in the VO. But now, before we move on, I would like to take a brief moment to talk to you about trees. The Gamescom Forest is this year's sustainability project. Gamescom has partnered with the reforestation experts at Tremer to rebuild a climate-resilient mixed forest of at least 10,000 square meters near the German town of Bayreuth. Gamers worldwide can donate to plant more trees at tremer.net/gamescom-forest.html. That is a URL. Let's plant a Gamescom Forest together. Gamescom Studio will be right back.
Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indies Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now. Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
This year, Gamescom is streaming to you on IGN, and now you can watch it unfold on TikTok. World premieres, exclusive gameplay, cosplay, interviews, and unforgettable moments from the biggest show in gaming can now be crammed right into the palm of your hand. Check out IGN and Gamescom's TikTok accounts and use the hashtags Heart of Gaming and Gamescom 2020 to get in on the action.
And we are back. If you're a fan of independent games, you won't want to miss our Awesome Indies show. Tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. Central European time for a really fun variety showcase of indie game premieres, announcements, gameplay demos, and some great special guests, hosted by Michael Swaim and Tom Marks. Speaking of Tom Marks and indie games, here comes Tom Marks in another indie game right now. Screwed that sentence up bad, but we're doing it, baby. Get there.
Check Out This Game is back, and this time we're bringing you a first look at the opening moments of Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, a side-scrolling platformer that's both a fast-paced action game and a relaxing farm builder. Take a look. Like what you see? You can watch the extended version of this gameplay at IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN. And be sure to tune into Gamescom Awesome Indies Saturday, August 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific for more exclusive gameplay, trailers, and reveals of exciting upcoming indie games.
This is the Divine Garner! Do they mean to eat my offering of rice for Lady Kamihitsuki? You've done it now. I shall etch a painful reminder of your hubris upon your lowly human souls.
That was the wonderful Tom Marks checking out Sakuna. If you've been paying close attention, you probably noticed that Tom is wearing a different bow tie in every one of those segments, usually matching it to the theme or the look of each game. Can you guess which one's next? I bet you can't. Anyway, up next, here's the party-based RPG Waylanders right here on Gamescom Studio.
Hi everyone, and welcome to an exclusive first look at the medieval era in the Waylanders. My name is Fernando Prieto, and I am the executive producer of Estudio Gatos Salvajes RPG, The Waylanders. The Waylanders, currently in Steam Early Access, takes inspiration from the Celtic mythological cycle, a rich tapestry of history in the Celtic region of Brigantia. In modern day, this is Galicia, located on the north coast of Spain. Early on in the Waylanders, your character becomes detached from the cycle of life and death, meaning he or she will not be reborn after they die. But this means your character can break all the rules by stepping outside of the bounds of time with the aid of powerful magic. In the medieval era, the magic is gone, religion is everywhere, and much has changed. In addition to the Celtic tales set in Brigantia, which early access players are already exploring, the story also plays out in the medieval period, when Christianity has supplanted much of the Celtic culture, and the nearby city of Compostela has become a hub of commerce and religion. Both eras are separated by more than 1,000 years. The enormous cultural difference between these ages is emphasized by using different color palettes in lighting, buildings, and equipment. With the new age comes new clothing, armor, and weapons. Tunics and heavy armor have supplanted the robes and wraps common in the Celtic period. Similarly, weapons have changed, incorporating finer detail and more metal. The vivid color-saturated locations visited in the Celtic period transform into desaturated landscapes where grey, brown, and cold blue are more relevant. Here, the once colorful village of the Trasnos, Ons, has become a drab human fishing village. Other locations, once set in the middle of nature, are now stone constructions surrounded by high walls. The Tower of Brigantia, once a magically significant monument, has been replaced by Roman construction. These and other changes has been devastating to creatures of magic, forcing them into hiding and worse. Jumping forward in time has had its effects on those you once knew. Your long-dead mortal companions from the Celtic Age have been reborn and must be awoken to fight at your side again. But what of the immortals? More than 1,000 years have passed for Naseya, Barath, and others. Are they still the wealthy elementals you met before? Or has the passage of time been less than kind? Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll have more to share about the Waylanders in the coming months, and we look forward to opening up the medieval era to players when we launch in 2021.
That was the Waylanders, out early next year. If you hate the land with all of its mud and sticks and rocks and dirts and stuff, and you'd rather play a game about the big ol' ocean, well, stick around because we've got Sea of Thieves coming up right after a short break. Gamescom Studio will be right back.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide. Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up-to-the-second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late-night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indies Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now.
Hey there! Do you have opinions on games, movies, TV, or other weird stuff on the internet? You can take part in our new show, Power Ranking, where you can vote on all your favorite things on the internet. Do it now! Do it! Just go! Vote! Go vote!
Ahoy there, and welcome back to Ye Old Gamescom Studio. Next up, we're checking out what's new in Sea of Thieves. Yar! Full sail ahead, Avast, Hades, pirate words. I was supposed to say that like a pirate.
Launching on Steam has been a great moment for Sea of Thieves, and we've seen a great reaction from players. Our Steam audience currently makes up between 20 to 30% of our monthly active users, and they're all playing via crossplay with everyone else, which is awesome. To be able to have everyone smoothly play together via crossplay keeps all of our community together, regardless of what platform they're on and where they are in the world. We've seen a group of friends that haven't been able to play together before crew up and adventure together across multiple platforms and time zones. Like, it's genuinely magical. With this coming to Steam, we often get questions around other platforms, and for us the most important thing is that any new players can play via Xbox Live with the rest of our community, so that's always a consideration at the forefront of any decision making that we'll make in that regard. We continue to have huge plans for the future of Sea of Thieves, with a balance of regular releases and live events alongside those to keep our community engaged, but we've also got some big surprises up our sleeve as we look over the year ahead, and I genuinely believe the next year is going to be the biggest one yet for Sea of Thieves. With that in mind, our next update due in September is where we finally bring dogs to the Pirate Emporium. We brought cats to the game earlier in the year, which went down incredibly well, and now we're finally answering the demand for dogs. The team have lavished their usual love and attention on our furry best friends, ensuring they bring charm and humour to the game in the usual Sea of Thieves style, but unfortunately they also bring other pretty familiar dog traits, so mind where you step when you're out on the boat. There's a bunch of other stuff coming in September, including an exciting new voyage type for the Gold Hoarders that will be a permanent addition to the voyage choices alongside X marks the spot and the riddle maps, but we'll be sharing more information on that as we get a little closer to the September release. We'll be continuing to update the game on a monthly basis with a combination of new features, quality of life improvement and bug fixes, whilst also growing our range and the visibility of the live events that we've been running the last few months. And our aim is to have something unique for players to do throughout the month, and not just looking towards the next monthly update. And we're really excited about the possibilities here, especially when we think about how we have this really rich sandbox to utilise that, we've been adding to for 2.5 years. But then if you add in other players and the social dynamics that brings, we've just got some really interesting and exciting ideas for how to make the most of this with our live events. So I'm really interested to kind of see how that unfolds as we look forward. And if you're a new player or you're looking for a reason to come back to Sea of Thieves, there's always going to be something new to do. And with our horizontal progression system, there's nothing to stop you. We love seeing people join in after 2 years, 2.5 years, and realise that they can just go out on adventures with their friends who've been playing for ages, because there aren't any boundaries, there's nothing stopping them doing that. We are as excited today as we've ever been working on Sea of Thieves, and I can't wait for players to see what we have in store. It's never been a better time to jump in and adventure with your friends. Thanks for listening, and as always, we'll see you on the seas.
Up next, we are venturing forth into even more unfamiliar territory with Unexplored 2: The Wayfarer's Legacy right here at Gamescom Studio. Let's take a look.
Hi, I'm Joris, Game Director of Unexplored 2, and with me is...
Matthijs, I'm the composer and audio designer of Unexplored 2, and we are on a quest.
In this case, we're on a quest to wake the Flow Elemental.
What is a Flow Elemental?
It's a magic being that will allow us to restore a particular type of magic into the world. Here we're using a lot of wind magic to navigate this dangerous environment and actually try to locate a cave where we can find a sigil which will allow us to really wake that magical element of flow.
And these plants, they hurt you if you walk through them?
Yeah, they're dangerous, they're very stingy, so I use the wind to make sure that they hide.
Worms! I hate worms.
Yeah, I don't really like them too, and they're actually quite dangerous, so you can see me fighting them off. Actually using the wind magic as well to keep them at bay a little bit, to shock them into some distance. That will allow me to get a couple of swings in.
We're now in a spooky dark cave.
Yes, this is the Flow Rock Cavern where we actually can find the sigil. The Flow Rock Cavern has this natural magical rock formations called Flow Rock, which we try to control using the staff. But you can see here some of them are actually too heavy to use. What we need to do now is actually locate a source of flow blessing, which will temporarily boost my flow magic. If you look around in this game, there's a lot of things you can find in the dark places.
Oh, I guess here it is.
Yes, this is it. And you can immediately see that the power I have now controlling the flow rock is grown immensely.
You will be able to lift the heavier stones.
Yes, which will be demonstrated right now. Now we can get past these heavier stones. And we'll get rewarded for that. Here we find a sigil.
Oh, the sigil that you were just talking about.
Yeah, we need the sigil to get water walking, and we'll see that later. It's a sort of natural magic source that we'll grab from this environment and take with us. But now we're in a different location. This is
more worms!
Oh yeah, I'm going to use magic to kill them.
Oh yeah, this I like.
But we're here in a bone temple because we're following up on a clue that to find...
Okay, don't talk over the fact that you just you're summoning meteors.
I'm summoning meteors, yeah, but we're here for information. It's not about the magic. Now we're here following up a clue where we can find the actual exact location of the flow elemental.
And now you're summoning something good? I get no, that's not good. That's
it opened the door, but it also summoned some screaming skulls.
Kill him.
Yeah, I will kill him eventually, but I'm also running away using a side door here.
So running away is always an option.
Yeah, but here we are actually at the location where we came to look for. This is a place where we can meditate, and this takes in the form of a fortune test.
What is a fortune test?
A fortune test is a system that we use where a traditional RPG would use a dice roll, a simulated dice roll, and it offers a little bit more options, a little bit more gameplay.
So we found the location and now we are at that location. We're approaching this huge plant.
Yes, because the flow elemental is to be found out on the lake, and to get there we need to be able to walk on water. And this water lily, by restoring it, by giving it the sigil, it will give us a blessing that will allow us to get there.
And now we're water walking and whoa, that's the elemental.
Yes, it is, but elemental is not alone. It has a protector. This is Laylee, a character that you can find in different locations, but in this case she's actually going to test us before she is allowing us to wake up the elemental.
So why would you want to wake this elemental?
Well, waking the elemental brings about more powerful magic in the world. You can do this once per world and it will give you a permanent boon.
Why are these rewards important?
They will change the world forever, even beyond the run you're currently in. Should you die, you can always start again in the same world with a new character. In a sense, Unexplored 2 doesn't tell the story of a hero, it tells the story of an entire world.
Well, the three of us are just about done with Gamescom Studio for the day, or night, or morning, or evening, or whatever the hell time of day it is where you are or we are. But before we wrap up the show and hand it to three people who didn't have to wake up at the butt crack of dawn this morning, let's talk about some of our favorite games that we saw so far today. Max, let's kick it off with you and Little Nightmares.
Yeah, Little Nightmares 2. I'm really excited about this. I really enjoyed the first game. The best thing I can compare it to is playing it managed to make me scared in a way that I haven't felt since I was a little kid and still scared of picture books. Like, it's got this very kind of primal, kind of like fairy tale horror to it. And it's very much akin to sort of, Limbo or Inside. It's got that kind of like, just beautifully realized puzzle platformer kind of approach with a lot of, I don't even know if it counts as sort of cinematic, I would say like diorama-esque moments like this, but it looks really creepy. And I hope it's just kind of more of the same. The first game was good, pretty short. It got some DLC, but yeah, this has been in the works for quite some time now, and I'm happy it's coming along. On the note of sort of just horrifying things, there's also the Stone of Madness, which we got to look at for I think the first time today, which is that tactical game about a bunch of people trying to break out of a monastery. Which the more I think about it, the more interesting that sounds. I love like a good prison break story, and I feel like that's one of those things that isn't really tapped into that often in games. It's like, that's how a lot of Elder Scrolls games start, but it's sort of to make that the core concept of a bunch of people trying to get out of a monastery, and they're not not like ultimate badasses, they're just regular people.
We got that game a way back that you and I played the first bit of it together, but this looks, obviously way different, a lot more darker and a lot more insane. Casey, you were talking about how the Stone of Madness is basically a physical object that people believed could develop in your brain and make you go crazy.
Yeah,
so that's fun.
They would use, I can't remember what the tool is, trepidation, where they would drill into your head and remove a piece of your skull, and to try and get a stone that didn't exist out of your head. And though that procedure does have practical uses to relieve pressure if you get a concussion or something, it doesn't really do anything for any kind of psychological turmoil.
Mental illness is not caused by brain rocks. That's a whole different issue entirely.
Yeah, we're not sure, but we are sure that Casey's really into Scarlet Nexus, which looks awesome. Tell us all about it, Casey.
So I know we did get to see my video preview earlier today, but the written preview has a ton more information about the story and also about the genre of the game. So the creators and developers decided to dub Scarlet Nexus as brain punk. And that is because basically everything in this world is centered around the brain. So it looks very technologically advanced, and that's because people have these psionic hormones in their brain that let them control things in the world. So kind of like how we talk to, I don't know, Siri with our voices, they could just do it with their minds. And these people also have special extrasensory powers like psychokinesis and pyrokinesis, and they use those powers to fight these crazy monsters called the Others. How anime does all that sound? It's super anime. But I was hoping I was really hoping I'd be able to show you more concept art of the enemies, because man, it is so cool. They are
Is that
really,
some?
really interesting.
Is that some right now? It looks like a goat wearing high
Yeah,
heels. I'm
yeah.
into it.
I guess
These
the idea was to take inorganic and organic and mash it together to create really disturbing things.
That
You
rules.
you also liked Genshin Impact. We'll talk about that one very quickly.
Yeah.
That's definitely a really cool looking game.
I really just wanted to mention this. We've been hearing about this a ton, but we finally know when it will come out to the PlayStation 4 from today's trailer, and that is September 28th.
Yeah, which people are calling Breath of the Waifu, which I dig. We need more
Perfect.
Breath of the Wild style games. I really liked Morbid. This was a sort of top-down Lovecraftian, Cronenbergian, Soulsbornian game. That's a lot. But I was a big fan of Salt and Sanctuary. I'm obviously a huge Dark Souls, Bloodborne guy. Salt and Sanctuary came pretty close to hitting the mark for me, but I think the 2D methodology of that game didn't entirely click, but this sort of like 16-bit, sort of SNES JRPG approach to the Soulsborne genre is really cool. Very violent, lots of blood. You'll get to see some bosses in just a second too. This looks like it's going to be tough as nails and pretty unforgiving, but also like you get some big crazy weapons and those other really fun stuff. Lastly, I wanted to talk about Downhill. The Lonely Mountain Downhill DLC is coming very soon, and it lets you ride around a bicycle on an active volcano. Comedically violent downhill bicycle riding game where you bash your head open on rocks and play the levels over and over to get better. But this is just the beginning of Gamescom Studio. There is so much more, but from the three of us, not so much more, because we are going to stop talking now and hand the show to other people. Casey?
Can I go back to bed now?
Is it time for beer? Can we have beer? I don't know what time it is.
Both of you can have beer in bed all you want all day long because I'm not your mom and I don't care. Anyway, here's Akeem, Damon, and that other guy with tons more gaming coverage right here on Gamescom Studio. We will be back tomorrow, but stick around because there's more to come.
Still using those tiny phones and tablets to watch IGN? Give your eyeballs a rest because IGN has moved to your living room. Get first looks and in-depth reviews of the most talked about titles.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Pleasure to be here. And take a front row seat to the biggest events of the year. Tune in on your Samsung TV Plus, Pluto, and Plex and take a load off. Tune in to IGN 1.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Yo, welcome back to Gamescom Studio. I'm Akeem Lawanson. Coming up very shortly, we have some brand spanking new exclusive trailers to check out. And in a little while after that, Max and Brian are having a chat with Troy Baker, a voice actor whose dulcet tones you've probably heard in a video game or two, or three, maybe four. Speaking of dulcet tones, joining me right now is none other than that velvety voiced songbird of IGN, Damon Hatfield himself. Damon, what else is going on?
I am like a bird. I'll only fly away. If you're a fan of independent games, you won't want to miss our awesome indie show. That's tomorrow, Saturday, August 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, or 6 p.m. CET. It's a fun variety showcase, jam-packed with indie game premieres, announcements, gameplay demos, and some great special guests. And later on, Michael Swaim takes over with the Gamescom Daily Show, which features games, guests, and lots of fun. It's called a daily show, but it's formatted like a late-night talk show. And depending where you're watching from, your experience may vary, but it should be a good time no matter what. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Central European Time.
Right now, though, we don't have time for fun. Sorry, Damon. We're here on serious business. Here's a hard-hitting, no-holds-barred deep dive on Crash Bandicoot.
We're running out of time because Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is going to soon be hitting consoles, and I cannot wait to dive into this game as a huge fan of the Crash Bandicoot franchise. And thankfully, I can spend a little bit of time, and I promise I won't do too many more time puns after this, talking to Lou Studdert from the Toys for Bob team, a producer on Crash Bandicoot 4. Lou, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and honestly, bring on the time puns. Just keep them coming.
I feel like you and the team must be sick of. I'm sure you do them, back and forth to each other all the time. But I feel like I must drive you crazy by just throwing them in. So I'll try to restrain myself.
We've got a lot of dad joke energy on the game, so
Perfect.
it works.
That's how I like to describe most of the videos I do, as dad joke energy. So I appreciate that.
Perfect. Yeah.
So this will go very well. But no, there's a ton to talk about with Crash Bandicoot 4, especially since last time we spoke. But the first thing I want to talk about, around Gamescom is, of course, the debut and the first look at the flashback tapes when it comes to Crash Bandicoot 4. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and what people can expect from what that is?
Yeah, so the flashback tapes are these kind of devious test chambers that we've dreamed up, and they see kind of Crash and Coco before the events of the original Crash Bandicoot. So these actually take place in the 90s. They take place when Cortex was doing tests on Crash and Coco, because originally Crash was kind of planned to be Cortex's kind of general of his army. And so what we wanted to do was make these fun, crazy test chambers where Cortex is putting Crash and Coco kind of to the limits of platforming skill. And so these are these really fun, extremely difficult challenge rooms that players can get access to in a very unique way. You're required to find these VHS tapes in the levels, and you need to reach them in the level without dying. So it's actually us playing off of the death routes from the original trilogy, which required players to get to a certain location without dying to get access to it. And so for us, these VHS tapes are that challenge. So you need to find them in a level without dying to get access to these crazy levels. And then once you're in the levels themselves, they actually have kind of a multi-tiered relic system. And so for the completionists out there, it's not enough to reach the end of it. Similar to a normal level, you need to also break all of the crates. And so it's exceedingly difficult. It's really fun. And it actually allowed us to just kind of come up with just insane creative usage for all of the boxes and crates in the game, and even toss in some that you've never seen before.
Yeah, I was, watching the footage before we spoke, and I got to say, I love just how many Nitro crates there are apparent. I respect that. I can already imagine how frustrating I might feel on occasion at a missed jump or two, but how exciting it's going to be to try to overcome these levels. I do like that mix of the old and the new, because as you were saying, these take place back in time, but we're seeing, for example, one of the newer crates, which has that sort of like time countdown. Was there any worry about including some of the newer facets in these earlier things, or because sort of the way they're explained in the world, it was easy to kind of bridge that gap?
You're exactly right. One of the things that you'll actually see in the levels themselves, or hear in the levels themselves, is a commentary running from Cortex talking to Crash or Coco, depending on whose level it is. And he'll explain, some of the ideas he had behind these crates, or, some of the new ones we've added were actually experiments that he was running. And so we've kind of taken a chance to use these test chambers as fun areas to inject bits of lore and just kind of that Crash humor that you know and love, as well as recontextualizing or contextualizing different things about Crash's past.
Well, and I really love that sort of whole ethos for the game, it feels like, because it is, last time we spoke, you had mentioned so much of the team, of course, is longtime Crash fans, lifelong Crash fans. And so to be able to really put this game in the context of what Crash's story is, it's not just, here's another, X number of levels. Here's why this journey matters to the, to pick up from that original Crash trilogy.
Exactly. Yeah, this is actually, to tie it back into that original Crash trilogy for us, we kind of had this general idea of what if there was an amount of time in between, Crash going through the Evolvo Ray before failing out of the Cortex Vortex. Because it's kind of a hard cut in that opening cutscene of the original Crash game, and so you don't know if there was some time in there. And so what this is if there was an amount of time in between that evolving process and Cortex Vortex, where Cortex is really kind of bullish on the idea that Crash is going to be, his next great general. And so from a storytelling perspective, it was really fun for us to come up with some fun lines and some fun audio for Cortex and some of the other scientists, where they're really positive on Crash's progress and they're really excited to see what he could become without knowing that, he'll actually be their future nemesis.
I love that, because it is, as someone who's been a fan of the franchise since that original trilogy, it's great to see sort of the twists of modern and retro that the team really seems to be bringing to this. And one of those things that I want to talk about, because everything that I've loved that I've seen about the game really comes down to so many great presentation notes. And one of those big things is, of course, that was something revealed a few weeks back, but the inverted mode, which is sort of the mirror mode of the game. For those who may not have seen that initial reveal, or for people looking for a little bit more, can you sort of give me just like a brief overview of how inverted mode plays into the rest of Crash 4?
Sure, absolutely. So inverted mode is what we call our souped up take on mirror mode, but it's not just flipping the screen and having that mirroring. It's also introducing these brand new kind of visual aspects and presentational aspects to each of our dimensions. And so in one, you could be going in what was it, the what we call the neon wastelands, or the hazardous wastes, with a crazy neon filter, and so everything's black and white and it looks like it's lit up by neon, and the light will actually fade if you take too long going to the next checkpoint. Or we have one that looks like you're underwater and we're actually making it feel more like you're underwater. And so some of these have really fun gameplay altering effects. Some of them are purely visual or really excitingly visual, like one where you're in a black and white world and you're spinning, and spinning causes paint to spill out and paint the world. So this inverted mode is something that players will unlock part of the way through their journey in the game, and it allows players, once they've beaten the level, to access the level in this new mode with a unique feel, and also just more goals and challenges for them to take on.
I love it, because it's there's this wonderful balance of wanting to bring people into the Crash world, but also to really give that level of, I think, depth that Crash longtime fans expect, but also that difficulty that fans expect. And there's just such a wide breadth of stuff that you and the team have shown off. It's been so incredibly rewarding as a fan to see, like, oh, there's this new layer, there's this new layer. It really does feel like this incredible full package for celebrating Crash's history and his future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was very important for us to have kind of this foundational aspect of that original trilogy of games, and that kind of unique, what we call that perspective shifting platforming, that's really tied to the execution of skill and precision. But to take that as our foundation and then just build on it and continue to iterate and continue to bring in new aspects, from quality of life things of our modern and retro modes, which allow you to, if you want, play where if you die, you always come back at a checkpoint versus having to need to earn lives, to just additional things for players to do to grow in that skill. Because the more you play this game, the better you get. The more efficient you get. The way that you see we have a death tracker now, and you see that thing shrink the more you play these levels. And then with inverted mode, we said we wanted something that played against that. We wanted something that took your muscle memory and threw it out the window and gave you a whole new fresh experience. And so from, a new player coming in, it's a really welcoming start to, joining in the franchise. But then for that classic player, we've got some devious things. Like these flashback tapes are just crazy. And the fact that you have to get to access them without even dying is just another layer.
Yeah, and as you were saying, sort of as we wrap up, it both speaks to the death routes that were there in the original trilogy that definitely drove me crazy sometimes, especially when I was younger, but also the chance to have a new version of that here really does speak to, I think, sort of what this game is aiming to deliver, which I love seeing so much. As we sort of wrap up, I did quickly want to bring up, of course, because we've seen now Neo Cortex and Dingo Dial as other playable characters, and I was just sort of wondering on sort of a broad level the team's approach to these new characters, because I got a chance to go hands-on with the Cortex level from the preview version of the game a few weeks back, and what I loved was I felt at first I was like, oh no, this doesn't play like Crash, I'm going to have to rework my whole brain, and then it was like, oh, I could see a whole spin-off around the way Cortex plays. It felt like very well thought through, it felt very fun in its own right, but also fresh and unique and not just sort of a copy of what Crash was.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, for us, when making these alternate heroes, the way that players are going to get access to them is that as they play through the adventure, there will be a level introducing kind of them to this character, like Cortex and Dingo, that will teach them how these characters play. And then from that point on, they'll actually interact with them in optional levels where these characters will be in what we call timeline levels, where you see how their parallel stories interact with Crash and Coco's adventure. And for us, when developing these, what we wanted to do was make sure that they were all compelling in their own right. They have some kind of core fundamentals. Like, we didn't want to, make Dingo Dial into a 3D, action adventure game. They have some core, foundational elements of a Crash game, but then we wanted to give them their kind of unique play styles, their unique focus. And so for Cortex, he's a bit more puzzly, right? He's about figuring out where to go, how to change enemies, how to interact with them. And then for Dingo, he's kind of jokingly our demolitions expert. He's all about breaking through stuff. He's picking up TNT barrels with his vacuum cannon, launching them at enemies. He's smashing through crates. He's a big boy, so he's slamming through things as he goes, as opposed to kind of having more of a finesse style of play than Crash. So it's been a lot of fun for us and for the team, not only to come up with the movesets for these, but then also just reinvent kind of how we develop levels for them and to come up with really fun, new and unique interactions for these characters.
Yeah, the Cortex level was such a fresh surprise, and I loved getting the handle of him, and so I'm very excited to see how him and Dingo Dial and how this all factors into the full campaign really plays out, because I'm very excited to see that full package. Before we do wrap up, I briefly did want to have to ask, of course, I know the game's just, a couple months now away from launch, a little over a month. Is there enough time to put a John Carpenter reference in there now that we know he is looking forward to Crash Bandicoot 4?
I have never been happier about anything on the internet ever. For
context, for those who may not know, John Carpenter was recently giving an interview and mentioned he can't wait to play Crash Bandicoot 4, and I was delighted by that as a John Carpenter fan. And I saw you tweet about it too, so I had to mention it was a delightful congruence or confluence of things I would not expect to come together.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, as just a big fan and a big, horror nerd, it just brought a warmth to my heart. And honestly, seeing just the outpouring of how excited people are about this game has just been such an uplift to the team. Really, it's been a great project, and we can't wait to get it in people's hands, especially John Carpenter's.
Especially his. And of course, I can't wait to play, and we're not that far off because Crash Bandicoot 4 is coming to PS4 and Xbox One on October 2nd. So close, I can't believe it. But thank you, Lou, so much for taking the time to speak with me. Can't wait to see more of the game, and thank you for showing off the newest bit of the Crash 4 puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
That was our good old friend Crash Bandicoot right here on Gamescom Studio. And now it's time for a quick break, guys. Gamescom Studio will be right back faster than you can probably say Wumpa Fruit. Give it a shot.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game. But what if you got the opportunity to peek into the minds of the developers while they watch their games getting completely wrecked? That's exactly what happens in every episode of Game Devs React to speedruns.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh my god!
We invite you to ride along with the developers as they react to, question, and enjoy some of the most skilled players exploiting and speeding through a game it took years of their life to create. Join us every Saturday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Still using those tiny phones and tablets to watch IGN? Give your eyeballs a rest because IGN has moved to your living room. Get first looks and in-depth reviews of the most talked about titles.
Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Pleasure to be here.
And take a front row seat to the biggest events of the year. Tune in on your Samsung TV Plus, Pluto, and Flex, and take a load off. Tune in to IGN 1.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Welcome back to Gamescom Studio. If you're a fan of independent games, you won't want to miss our awesome Indie Show. It's a fun variety showcase of indie game premieres, announcements, gameplay demos, and some great special guests.
That's right, Damon. Now, that's all happening tomorrow, Saturday, August 29th at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, or 7 p.m. Central European Time. So mark your calendars and set your alarms. But right now, we promised you more trailers, and here they are.
Let's go. Woo. Street power. Ball out all day, all hours. Take it back to the streets. Wake up, take it back to the streets. What? Street power. Ball out all day, all hours. Take it back to the streets. Wake up, take it back to the streets. Take it back to the streets. SPF, back on the beat. They know us from the west to the east. You play us, then you rest in peace. See the ice on my wrist, that's Cartier. Big tricks like Seiya and Garnier. I'm a ball, can't stop till I got a plane. Wanna call, wanna talk, then they gotta pay. Tokyo, Paris, London, New York City, Manhattan, stunting. New flow, we pass discussion. You too slow like a traffic junction. So if you want smoke, not a good call. Under pressure, y'all choked, we stood tall. Freestyle on the field or futsal. Yeah, we playing street power football. Street power, ball out all day, all hours. Take it back to the streets. Wake up, take it back to the streets.
Hi, my name is Forrest Dowling, and I'm the creative director of Drake Hollow. And I'm here today to share the news that Drake Hollow is available right now on the Xbox One. So you can go to your Xbox, download it, rescue some drakes, battle some feral, and have some fun with your friends.
Now face your death. You dead by I will end you. Your secret.
We just got new trailers for Street Power Soccer, Drake Hollow, and Raji, an Ancient Epic. Let's talk about them. I did not realize Street Soccer was a thing. Did you guys?
No, I did not.
Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like, we're so used to like traditional soccer that we kind of forget that street soccer is a thing. It actually is. I kind of like knew about it, but it's not as big as like traditional soccer is. Like the arcadey vibe that this game kind of gives off, along with like the cell shading, kind of like really speaks to like the craziness that you sometimes actually see in street soccer. Like the last time I've ever played a street soccer related game was like years ago. Was FIFA Street 4, which was very deep cut, and that was like that wasn't as over the top as what we see in Street Power Soccer, and I feel like this is definitely going to be like a welcome addition to people that kind of want to like deviate a little bit from the traditional aspect of soccer and kind of like get that kind of arcadey feel that this gives off.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like it's all about tricks and customization of your characters. Reminds me a lot of NBA Jam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Seth, is this something you play with your kids?
Yeah, I would absolutely play this. I love arcade style sports games. I'm glad to see there's a resurgence of them. NBA Playgrounds sort of kicked off this revival, and hopefully we get more of this. What I really felt was this was like NBA Streets, which was on PlayStation 2, but they just changed up the sport a little bit. Give me some more of this. Give me some like NFL Blitz action. Let's get this arcade sports game ball rolling. Oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm sorry.
But it's great. I'm glad it happened. I'm happy with it. Okay, we also got to look at Drake Hollow. This is a game that's out now on Xbox Game Pass from the makers of Flame and the Flood. What did you guys make of this one? It's all about defending a village of sort of vegetable folk called drakes from feral monsters that are actually called feral.
Well, I got to say, Damon, I'm here for the veggie folk. My sister, she's actually she's vegan, but she's not so much of a gamer. But I think like this might be the game that kind of like turns her around to gaming. At least I'm hoping so.
Really?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, like I think like the unique mechanic of this game, you having to kind of like keep your veggie people. You also have to keep them entertained, apparently, kind of adds like a new layer to this whole co-op fort building and protecting game. Because like if you don't keep them entertained, apparently they die. Your veggie folk die if you don't keep them entertained.
Wow.
So I feel like a lot of vegetarians will really appreciate this game.
Yeah, I wonder what's you're playing as humans though. So like, have they walked into another dimension? Like, how did they get to this world with these fantasy creatures?
Well, I believe that. So they were living in like a desolate world already, and then they kind of just these kids discover this place called Drake Hollow with these drakes that live there. The natives are called drakes, and they just so happen to be veggie folk that you have to protect from some evil darkness. It's a unique premise for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It looks cute and fun. We also got a quick look at a boss fight in Raji, an ancient epic, which is an action-adventure game set in India. But I think we have just about run out of time. Although this game does look very cool to me. I got sort of a Zelda vibe from this. Seth, how about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I like the looks of this one.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it showcases Indian mythology, or it's inspired by Indian mythology. Right. Like we've seen so much of like Norse and Greek mythology in games. It's really nice to kind of like see new mythology kind of like shown or showcased in games. So I'm here for this one. This one's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, remember, later today after Gamescom Studio is the Gamescom Daily Show, where notable, humorous person Michael Swaim will be hosting a fun variety show with indie games, guests, general fun. And if you've got other plans today, worry not. He'll be back with another episode tomorrow. That's at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, and 11 p.m. Central European Time. Right now, it's time to check out another game. There have been plenty of games where you play as a robot, but this one has you controlling 20,000 robots at once. This is Drone Swarm. Let's take a look.
They sent us a message. Translate.
Unknown vessel, you are in full territory. Leave or be fired upon.
Okay, I leave. Of course I won't. So welcome everyone to this play session on Drone Swarm. The aliens actually threatened us and we have 32,000 drones at our disposal to deal with them. So let's make that fun. Like, how about 10,000 drones ripping through your hull, kind sir? Trespassing, right. So let's draw another attack path and take it out for good. Ooh, yes, it's enough. Bam, rest in pieces there. Whoa, 3 more enemies incoming, so let's improve our wall setup because we committed way too many drones, a lot fewer now. So, they're approaching a straight line, so let's just punish them for that. But we can actually commit a lot more, let's do it. Symphony of Destruction, nice. It's absolutely crucial we keep our walls in place because the Argo, our mothership, is actually kind of fragile, so if we lose that one, it's over. But we got finally rid of that. Now we can scan the planet, what we came here to do in the first place. Well, that's also our main mission. We need to find a new home for humanity, so here we are, punching some alien butts. Unfortunately, no suitable planet found here, so let's jump to the next system and see what it has in store for us. Well, what have we here? 2 aliens fighting one another. I like it.
Unknown vessel, this is the Argo. Do not fire. We come in peace.
Of course you are. Just like the last ship that pretended not to be hostile, we will not fall for the same fraud trick twice.
The Shan is this new race. Let's see what they got. Some attack path. Ooh, they have lasers. Whoa, they're damaging my drones quite heavily. So what's happening?
Beware of their lasers.
More incoming. We need to take care of them fast. Ouch, that hurts. Look at all the light flashes in my swarm. That hurts a lot. Attacking from the front was a bad mistake. See, every single explosion, every single light flash in my swarm is 1 drone dying. Already 3,000 drones lost. At that rate it will be bad. And imagine if there's even stronger lasers later on. They will just cut through my defenses. And that is exactly what Drone Swarm is about. The aliens finding constantly new ways to counter you. To counter your tactics and your defenses. For instance, check out this new enemy type, the Interceptor. We actually call it the Wallbuster. And here you see why. And the worst thing, it's shielded too. Look at this. All my drones just being repelled by its shields. That's just... So you need to come up with more clever ideas on how to approach it. Maybe different wall configurations, or indirect attacks with a cannonball. Well, I'll leave that up to you. Or how would you handle super fast enemies like this one? You barely can catch him. Imagine what happens if he hits heavily too. Or fighting in an asteroid field while being constantly under pressure because holy crap, those asteroids do hurt. All the while adapting constantly to the enemy tactics and avoiding the local hazards in the map. Well, and sometimes you just use them to your own advantage. Overall, Drone Zone will be challenging you with a lot of crazy fights, and you will be trying them again and again until you find a working strategy. Thanks for tuning in, make sure to wishlist us and be back. Bye.
Earth is dying. We must find a new home.
That was Drone Swarm right here on Gamescom Studio. Now we need to take a short break, but when we return, a whole block of new game demos. So stick around.
Gamescom 2020 is the heart of gaming, and you can keep to the beat right here on IGN. We've turned the single biggest show in gaming into 5. Gamescom Now is your virtual show floor with up to the second live coverage. Gamescom Daily Show, Gamescom's first ever late night talk show. Our Gamescom Awesome Indies Show, the freshest deep cuts in indie gaming. And finally, the Gamescom Best of Show, including the Gamescom Award. Gamescom 2020 is available on IGN and wherever you stream Gamescom Now. Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
This year, Gamescom is streaming to you on IGN, and now you can watch it unfold on TikTok. World premieres, exclusive gameplay, cosplay, interviews, and unforgettable moments from the biggest show in gaming can now be crammed right into the palm of your hand. Check out IGN and Gamescom's TikTok accounts and use the hashtags Heart of Gaming and Gamescom 2020 to get in on the action.
Welcome back to Gamescom Studio. You know, for a lot of us, going to school definitely wasn't fun. In fact, it was basically the opposite. If you're like me, you probably spent a lot of time in your classes wishing you were home playing video games. So a video game about going to school doesn't sound really fun unless it involves magical powers. And that, my friends, is what this next game is all about. Here's Tom Marks with a turn-based tactical RPG about students at a magical school. Check it out.
Up next on Check Out This Game, a turn-based tactical RPG set in a magical school that puts a focus on strategy and positioning for each fight. Take a look at some exclusive gameplay from Eichenfell. Like what you see? You can watch the extended version of this gameplay at IGN.com or YouTube.com/IGN. And be sure to tune into Gamescom Awesome Indies, Saturday, August 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific for more exclusive gameplay, trailers, and reveals of exciting upcoming indie games.
That was Tom Marks with the look at Eichenfeld right here on Gamescom Studio. Coming up next, WRC9 World Rally Cross Championship.
Hi, I'm Alan Genu, Creative Director at KT Racing, and with a few days before the release of WRC9, we're taking a look at the content and new features of our new game in the WRC series. We've updated the series and the game in all areas, basically. The dynamics, game modes, sensations. We always want to offer players a rally experience that's as close to reality as possible. And so today, I'm going to present the improvements and new game modes available in WRC9. This year we have 3 new countries. Rally Kenya returns to the championship. Rally Kenya is an iconic rally with its wide open spaces, so you can find yourself in the savannah with extremely fast sections, which are in complete contrast to other areas, such as villages with narrow technical sections where you need to pay attention. It's a very unique environment. At certain points you are on very wide tracks, and then all of a sudden you are in a village or crossing a river. It's very interesting and a very specific type of racing on gravel. New Zealand also returns to the championship this year. New Zealand is also gravel, and it's distinctive for its many twists and turns. You need to manage mass transfer in the hairpin bends. The gravel changes when it rains, and the environment transforms a lot. But you can enjoy lovely coastal views at the same time. It's beautiful and very technical. Japan returns this year as well. You're on asphalt for this rally, so it's a bit faster than Kenya and New Zealand. But it also has extremely tight and technical roads. You also pass through villages in this one. There are many hairpins which you must learn to handle and avoid hitting the barriers. There are also beautiful landscapes in this unique country that require a particular technique. So in this year's WRC, you have these 3 new countries, plus all 13 countries that were initially planned for the championship. We've always wanted to improve the simulation side of WRC to try and recreate an authentic feeling of driving, and to be as realistic as possible. For example, you can fine-tune your cars. When you've adjusted your setup, you can save it and test the car in free roam in different conditions. This environment includes all the conditions you'll find in the championship. The simulation aspect is important to us, and it has been further developed this year thanks to feedback from the fan community. We've improved the suspensions and the feeling of mass transfer and car weight. This is very important for handling, and it's an area we definitely needed to improve again this year. This year it's even more realistic. We developed it with our play testers and with rally drivers who had the chance to test the game. We immediately felt they were much more comfortable with the game than they had ever been. For example, at a recent esports final in Finland, we noticed they picked it up very quickly and felt comfortable with it. Whereas previously they weren't as comfortable, because they aren't all gamers and had some trouble getting into the game. In just a few minutes or hours, they were completely at ease. They could set up their car like they wanted and start racing. They were even competitive against esports players. This was truly amazing because we had 2 distinct worlds up until now, between the gamers who know video games well and rally drivers who know how to drive really well. So this year we really felt that the drivers got good feelings from the game and felt very comfortable with it. And that's amazing for us. It's a great achievement and justifies the time we've spent on developing the game, including giving our programmers the chance to ride in rally cars, so they can experience the sensations and really succeed in reproducing the rally experience. In this year's WRC, there's a new mode, which is really big and highly anticipated by the community. The Clubs mode. In Clubs mode, players can create their own club and create competitions between friends or for the WRC player community.
Le mode club dans WRC 9, c'est la possibilité de créer son club.
The competition is in the form of your own championship, so you can choose up to 8 special stages in any country, a car category, conditions for each special stage, and basically create your own championship.
Spécialisé dans un pays ou aller dans le monde entier pour créer son championnat, choisir la catégorie de voiture très précisément, choisir les conditions pour chaque spécial et ainsi créer son championnat.
Once you've created the championship for your club, you choose whether to invite friends or open it to everyone. And this is something the community have been really wanting. We also want the game to grow over time and evolve for free for players. So it won't be a game that never receives any updates after the day it releases. WRC 9 will get free additional content. For example, Finland will be added a month after the game releases with 6 new special stages. Finland is in the base game, but we are adding an expansion that completely revamps the country with the new rules we've set up in the level design. So Finland will be even better and more realistic. And the same applies to Portugal 2 months after the game releases. There will be new cars, new teams, and new game modes. All this content will be free for players. For the community, like with the Clubs mode, we are adding a photo mode so you can share beautiful environments, cars and driving feats with the community. And then there's a co-driver mode that will be added a few months after the game releases. This is an online co-op mode where you drive a special stage and the co-driver reads the pace notes to the driver. This will be a team effort just like in a real rally. It's already an intrinsic part of the rally experience, and we want to give players the chance to try it out in WRC 9. So, there's one driver and one co-driver, and they must work together to get the best time in the special stage. There you have it. You know everything about WRC 9 now, and we look forward to sharing more with you when the game releases.
That was WRC 9, and while there's definitely a psychological element to automobile racing and seeing that many motor vehicles moving so fast is a little frightening, it doesn't hold a candle to an alternate plane of reality filled with unspeakable horrors, which is something players will be exploring in the medium. Let's take a look.
We are not making horror games only to scare the shit out of people, but also to bring or tackle a specific subject. And in terms of medium, the subject is different points of view.
When we have our central theme, dualism, different points of view, like everything is connected to the topic, you know, game design, level design, music, audio, like everything.
We at Bluebird are making horror games with a story, but we are trying to not judge the players for their actions.
You know that not everything is black and white, everything can have second sight, and sometimes it can be not pretty.
During a game you will see different events and different points of view, and the game will never tell you that something was bad or good. We are playing as Marianne. Marianne is living simultaneously in two worlds, our normal world and this hostile spirit world.
She's haunted by the vision of the child murderer. It's like a vision or like a dream. It comes back to her for time to time for whole her life, and she tried to put the pieces together. What about the vision is, why she's seeing there, if it's about her or about somebody else, or this is only premonition. She had a call from a strange man called Thomas, and Thomas talked to her. Okay, Marianne, I know what you are and I know what you're looking for. I have the answers. When you play as a medium, you can see really a different side of everything, people, places.
I very like one of the lines written by our writers, where Marianne says that she's living in two worlds, but she has never been a part of any. Our game uses a very unique mechanic that allows you to be in the two worlds at the same time.
The spirit world that Marianne sees reflects everything that is really strong in our life. If we have really strong emotions and we keep it to ourselves, in some way these emotions sink to this dark universe.
The spirit world is based on Zbigniew Beksiński's paintings.
So it's not a happy world, you don't see many really good looking places. It's more sinister, dark, scary.
Hey, sweetheart. Hi.
Constricting. Outgrown her. Don't need her. Have new suit. The light almost gone. Not dark yet, but it's getting there.
That was The Medium right here on Gamescom Studio.
Now we need to take a short break, but when we return, Alaloth, Champions of the Four Kingdoms. We'll be right back.
The next generation of video gaming is on the horizon, and IGN is here to bring you the latest PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X news and analysis in our new weekly show, Next Gen Console Watch 2020. We'll bring on the experts to discuss and analyze all the latest developments around these new consoles. From frame rates, services, features, peripherals, and even all the new tech jargon, Next Gen Console Watch 2020 will keep you up to speed on everything leading up to the next generation of gaming. Join us every Friday for a new episode.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite